Function, pumping it up to manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
All right, after 8 million years, let's finally do this. Just chatting. Yes, everything works now. Well, kind of. I know usually when we live stream, there's always a rocky start to everything, including delays, but this one was especially fun because if you live in the area, the New York Tri-State area, and haven't for some reason looked outside, maybe you're programming in Rust, I don't know, or you know, you live in a different area, just to let you know, basically we've had a mini heat wave for a week, and now it just recently rained, so I've been like heat stroked most of the day, which means I had to do a lot of updates that I would have normally done like a day or two ago, but that didn't happen, so I had to do all of them now, including some hilarious bottlenecks such as I forgot to put the chat window up on the screen, so I have it now as a separate program, which is why I'm able to do things like this. And I'll explain what I just shared there in a moment. But let's get into everything, because it's been a while, and it's been so much of a while that once again I didn't put the icons on. Let's find them here. They should be, let's see, logo 2. There we go. So yes, hi everybody, welcome to the live stream. I know it's been a while. We kind of took a break for about a month to regroup on things, but I'm really excited because we're going to be going back to meetings later on this month. So we're going to have our first ever in-person meeting in like months for now, and then we're going to make them consistent throughout eternity until you guys are all sick of us, and we will be back to streaming live content. Hi Tab Jabwack81, nice to see you there. So for other people who are not Jabwack81, for those who don't know about the show, let me reiterate what's going on here. Hi, I'm Sidepocket. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of DCG 201, formerly DEF CON 201 or DC 201. We are the New Jersey DEF CON group, hence the 201, which stands for our area code. Like most of the DEF CON groups, the number in the group is the area code. But we are one of the many, many DEF CON groups that you can find across the United States and around the world. And if you want to know more about us, I just posted the link to our blog, because yes, I still get messages about how much of a shit show the website currently is. It's been very slow in fixing it, like glacially slow, but we are getting there. So just give it about like 2 more weeks and at max, and hopefully without further setbacks, the website will be all good. In addition, if you want to follow us on all the socials, because we're literally on all of social media, we are on, I'm going to keep calling it Twitter, I'm not calling it X. I know I'm dead naming it, but I'll put it this way: when Elon Musk stops dead naming real people, I'll stop dead naming his stupid website. Or more of the bastardization, look what they did to my boy, that they've done to Twitter. But we're on there still, playing the violin as the ship sinks. We are also on the way superior Mastodon, our hostducks.social instead of Mastodon. We're still on the Instagrams. We have a Threads account because of the Instagrams. We have hosted code on GitHub, which I forgot to update, but I'll put that in the show notes later. We're on many, many different things, including a lot of things that you folks might not suspect. So you can go to the link tree that I just put in chat, and that's there. And again, as I say every episode, we are very slowly, because we're trying to figure out our IRC situation, moving to Discord. Before the end of the year, we should be involved with 2 online CTS, which is usually a big boost in our Discord, because we use our Discord to do all the CTF knowledge stuff for fun. And we actually specifically have a CTF that we're currently trying to actually get done in October that I think would be really cool, especially because of the theme. Sorry, November. Because of the theme of the November meeting. I'm getting ahead of myself with everything. So, in addition to all of these meetings that we're getting back to, we also normally do a bunch of live stream shows, some specials. Right now, we're debating about if we should even live stream the Apple thing. I doubt it, because I believe that's the stream that Apple usually does when they talk about their own hardware tech, and not really like we do the WWDC, or as I call it, what would Don Cheadle do, because that usually involves, it's very programmer focused, and even though they show off new hardware like they do with their stupid virtual reality googly eye goggles, we get to more look at like in developer stuff and like Mac hacking and things like that. This is just them jerking off all over the internet and saying buy our phone that now has an 18th lens on it. So we're probably not going to react to that, but we're going to be reacting to a bunch of other things throughout the year and even this month. But we usually have two consistent shows that are done by me. One is the Master of Unlocking, which I am planning on trying to do this month. And it's more of trying to figure out which topic and what date and time to squeeze this in at. So stay tuned for those announcements if you like the lockpicking stuff that I do. Also, if you like the lockpicking stuff I do, because you probably noticed background here a little bit, if you live in the New York metro area, and you have some free time between 7 to 9 p.m. Next week on Tuesday, the 12th, and then again on the 26th, I'm always here in person on those 2 days, the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month at Hack Manhattan, which is an amazing space. It's located on, if I remember correctly, 37th Street between, is it 6th and 5th? 6th and 5th, okay, because again, I'm still suffering from heat stroke here. In fact, you'll probably notice that I'm forgetting the hat. When we do the scene change, I'm going to put the hat back on. So right now, I just look like a low-rent brown dual core. But yes, that's if you want to learn in-person lockpicking stuff while you're waiting for an eventual Master of Unlocking live stream. 2nd and 4th Tuesday a month at Hack Manhattan in New York City. That would be this month, the 12th and the 26th. I'll be here with all the stuff, all of the locks and gadgets, and you'll be able to enjoy that. I believe the website is hackmanhattan.com if you want to check out the space and see what other shenanigans they have. Because I'll tell you this, I'm also here for a bunch of other stuff that I never announced because it's my own personal business, but I will announce this. I saw that on the 13th, they're doing a whole class about how Git works. And we've done Git pushes and pulls and copies on the show, but it's always good to have a refresher, especially since I'm trying to literally box Linode with the website here. So that's a class that they have. They usually have a bunch of different stuff in addition to the open houses, so I definitely check them out. In fact, they're the reason why I'm able to return to live streaming. So thanks for all the people out there at Hack Manhattan. Go check them out. But the other show, this is what I'm getting into because we have a lot to cover today. I know I say that every episode we have a lot to cover, but this one's particularly big, so hang on tight. It's called Crypto Barons, as I hastily at the last second realized and had to change the logos to. So Crypto Barons, we look at cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies as the actual technologies. Because it's been so long, I'm going to reiterate what I said the first episode. This show idea came about because I'm very realistic about cryptocurrency bullshit. Note how I say cryptocurrency and not crypto, because crypto means cryptography. Also sometimes means cryptozoology, and on the occasion also crypto Judaism, but that's a whole other topic. So I'm very realistic about it. We've called out scams on the show many times before, and a lot of crypto stuff, that's what it is. But I just have to rehydrate. When we do the scene change, I'm also going to experiment a little bit, see if we can get a little bit better microphone action here. But I was sick and tired of hearing a cool piece of blockchain tech that maybe I could like look into, and if there's like code on GitHub or GitLab, I'd do all of that, and typing into Google or YouTube, and it would just be endless blog posts, endless videos of fucking bear markets and buy the drip and to the moon and all this other bullshit finance crap. And then on page 12, I'd actually find the source code thing that I was looking for. And I know there's many out there, others who are out there. A lot of you have tuned into the show right now. So that's what we do here. Occasionally, we look at the finance side for a little bit just to do some context. Same thing with the social side like we're going to be doing today. But we look at white papers. We do the math on them to see if they're sound, because usually white papers have math in them for blockchain tech. We run test nets, we look at source code, and we're going to be doing that in spades this episode, because if you haven't seen the title, today's episode, right now, all this week, and I've been participating all this week, there's a wonderful organization that is called Major League Hacking. They are the go-to source for like the biggest well put together hackathons on the planet. And for those of you who are super underneath the rock and want to know what this is, a hackathon is basically a set day, time, and usually place, but a lot more have become virtual, particularly because of the COVID-19 panic, and because we aren't sponsored by anyone. I'm not worried about getting demonetized, so I can say COVID all I want. What was I getting to here? So they set up a lot of those. They recently did one of the big things we highlighted for Hacker Summer Camp, which was called just simply HackCon 11, where it was literally salute your shorts, Crystal Lake freaking campground up in upstate New York, hang out by the campfire, kumbaya, and learn how to put together better hackathons and do code. That's the type of stuff they do. And they have these special weeks that are called Global Hack Weeks, which are these hackathons that are exclusively online, and they have a different subject every month or other month. And this month's subject all week long was about Web3 technologies, blockchains, encryption, learning how to code by coding blockchain and dApps, all of that. And that's what we've been following, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So in this episode, provided nothing else goes more wrong, we're going to be, in a moment, we're going to be checking in because they're live streaming a subject right now. So we're going to watch not the whole thing, but a bit of that. So you can kind of see how they do these presentations and how they set up. We're going to tackle some of the challenges, which is going to be hilarious if you ever watch me code, in particular, not even make errors, but being the sloth scene from Zootopia levels of slow because I'm that rusty. So for all of you folks out there who really like to watch me suffer doing code and testing networks and trying to do all this stuff, this episode's for you. I hope you guys enjoy it. You're welcome. But that's what we're going to be doing. Plus, because this is a hackathon, people can also pitch projects, and there's not going to be feature complete, but there's been an idea I've been having for some reason, because I fucking hate these things, for NFTs of all things, for the longest time, that I've kind of sat here being like, am I the only person who's... And I've looked up to see if there was anything similar to what I've been doing. I've had things that were in the same, like, country, but nowhere near the zip code and nowhere near what the hell I've been thinking about. So I'm going to be pitching that today, and through the remainder of the week all the way until Monday for closing ceremonies for the MLH's Global Hack Week for Web3. When you go to there, after today, you will actually see that pitch, and you can join in and we can build stuff together for the rest of the weekend, because I won't be suffering from heat stroke. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. Also, before we go to the full screen blah blah blah, if you like the content that you see today, I'm going to be reminding this throughout the episode live, as well as if you watch this on rerun. Please, out there, give us a follow, like, subscribe. It's completely for free for all of our main platforms. That is currently Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, and our recent one, which has exploded, is Kick, probably because we're not a bikini girl or someone trying to sucker you into playing slots, which, you know, we have no problems with the former. We have a lot of problems with the later, and in fact, there's been a couple of news tidbits that's been going on with Web3, because Web3's been going great, that we're going to bring up. And funny enough, the people, the wonderful, in air quotes, people who run Kick.com were dragged kicking and screaming into a thing that literally happened 2 days ago. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's catch up on Global Hack Week. So let's go to desktop mode here. So, by the way, also when you follow us while we're live, we get notifications that you follow us, and I think the kick notifications work. It reminds me of early D Live. It's been weird. Everything's inconsistent. So I hope they work, but I know the Twitch and YouTube and oddly enough, the Odyssey stuff will pop up if you do stuff. Also, shout outs to the awesome open source decentralized peeps who are watching this on PeerTube, and also awesome, amazing, anonymous, elite as fuck hackers who are watching this through Invidious via Tor, which is another possibility you can watch, which is all available on our link tree. So again, like I said here, this is our blog that I posted earlier. You can check out. We covered like all of Hacker Summer Camp. In fact, today and tomorrow is the very last Hacker Summer Camp thing, which is this amazing, small but growing con that's replacing DerbyCon in Louisville, Kentucky, called Hack Red Con. They are so goddamn Kentucky and so goddamn Louisville that they actually meet at the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory, which, funny enough, and this is a little bit of TMI, OSCENT recon you can pick off of me, but I have to bring this up. I actually have a relative, one of my relatives is married to someone who works at that museum and factory. And I'm so glad I told them about the guides I'm working on, because my relative got to tell their partner that, hey, if you show up to work on these days and all of a sudden you start seeing a bunch of weirdos with electronic devices and antennas walking around and they all act like Sidepocket, but they use my legal name because they're not weird like that. Sidepocket told me that there's one of those hacker conventions going on, and their partner was like, oh, and now they're prepared for today, so they don't have to be confused of people walking around half naked in sombreros wielding flipper zeros, so they get it. So that was the last Hacker Summer Camp. We're going to be doing even more guides. I already have an outline of what those are going to be. We're going to be adding a bunch of new stuff and more comprehensive stuff for next year, including live streams for Hacker Summer Camp, but that, again, that's not here or there. But the last shout out I do want to do, and I'm mad that I didn't bring this up earlier, so I'm going to type it in like the moron I am. I just misspelled it. So, yeah, like I was saying earlier, and I'll bring this up at the end of the episode, and you can see the kind of cool bouncing around. Welcome to the web circa web circa 1998, with this blurb to remind you that, yes, the Hack Manhattan open houses here on 34th West 37th Street happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this upcoming Tuesday, so that's the 12th, and I'll also be here on the 26th. You will see me there with the lockpicks. Also, again, they do a bunch of events and classes. I'm going to be at the Git one. I'm going to try to go to the Git one just to refresh on it, because Git is like that Bell Labs documentary they made in the 70s, where they literally made a video that everyone should look up and watch called Unix Making Computers Easier to Use. So, like, yeah, Git obviously improved a lot of stuff with repos that didn't exist beforehand, but Git is also a big pain in the ass and confusing when it can be. So I'd like to do a refresher on that. It's because the awesome people at Hack Manhattan think of doing cool things like these. We have these sort of things where you can learn from. They have a bunch of other stuff too. There's soldering stuff, mathematical stuff, game nights. Go check them out. Again, they're the reason why we're able to live stream now. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to introduce you to, ta-da, let's see if it's good. Global Hack Week. And as you can see here at this blurb that's eating up all the bandwidth, they are currently live streaming. And in fact, let me quickly check my calendar, because either they're in the middle of it or they actually might be about ending it. Oh no, the second thing stuff. So we missed the, I'll bring this up because trust me, it's a weird word. It sounds like the MacGuffin in the Lego movie. So we missed the Kaggle data playground. And right now we're on part 5 of machine learning and NFTs, which is perfect because at the end of the episode we're going to be talking about my idea for NFTs that has nothing to do with their stream. But I just want to quickly show, so this is Global Hack Week by the awesome people at MLH, aka Major League Hacking. This week, from starting it back in September 4th ending on the 11th this weekend is their Web3 one. Next month, they are doing an open source one, which is going to very much tie into our meeting theme. And before I get anything else, let me check up on the chat. Hi, which webcam you use, brand and model. I was given this Logitech. It says on it it's a Tezar 2.0/3.7. I was literally gifted 2 of these webcams, which is why like they work. They're way better than the webcam that's on the laptop. But yeah, that's the thing. And speaking of which, while I'm doing this, let me see if I can change the microphone source so that we can have maybe slightly better audio. All right. So yeah, okay. So it's a little muffly, but I think this is way better audio. You don't have that like droning buzz sound in the background. So let's work with this audio from now on. Yay. And again, by the way, also, I love a lively chat. So if you have any questions, for example, here's an obvious question of why I'm not wearing the hat that I'm supposed to wear. Fix that problem right there. Or like, what's this episode? What's DCG 201? How do I be a hacksaw? I can already tell you right off the bat, I am not teaching you how to break into your girlfriend/boyfriend's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever. Here's my answer to that question. Couples therapy. That's what you need. You don't need to hack into. If you are so paranoid about what your partner's doing that you need to hack into their socials, you don't need to hack into their socials. You need therapy. And probably your partner too, because there's some freaky deaky abuse going on. So that's my answer to that. Rehydrate time. So let's get into the meat of this because we're going to watch a little bit of the live stream here in the beginning. And then I have a lot of bad coding examples too. So again, this is Global Hack Week. We're doing Web3. It's very much like a convention that you do in person. Everything's online. They have their own event landing pages every time there's a new stream. One of the ways you get like points for this stuff is you click, hey, I'm going to attend this online session, and then it does, and it forwards you there. I think I've already pre-done that. Yeah, I already pre-did that. And then they have a bunch of challenges. They have daily challenges, and then they also have just the general challenges. A lot of it is like they have a lot of non-code stuff, and in fact, I would say like almost a fourth of their challenges is just promotion stuff. It's literally just like follow their Instagram, follow our partners, Twitter. One which we're gonna do during the stream, which is post what your like coding rig is, like your image, and you send it to them. Things like that. And even though they have their own landing pages and they have their own Twitch streams and stuff, the meat and potatoes for the actual hackathon part is at DevPost, which is a giant online repo for virtual hackathons. And so they have one here, and this is also where I'm going to post the project for my NFT idea at the end, and we'll see who wants to work on it. And again, we like you see with these tabs, we have a lot of different challenges and stuff to look at. Oh, and also they have a Discord, so ignore the OSENT bar on the side here. But whoop, okay, so they just updated. So they have like the announcements. This is the Global Hack Week announcements. I'm just clicking into. Computer's slow as shit. One of my goals for next year is to get a better streaming computer. So yeah, they're announcing that the fifth online stream about machine learning and NFTs is on. This is where you do a lot of the chat and like the moment-to-moment interaction. And then dev post is where you find like the actual project pitches. And then of course you learn through their website and their Twitch and YouTube. And speaking of which, right now we're going to watch about, I want to say like 10, 15 minutes max. About this again, we missed the Kaggle thing, so I feel sad about that. So right now we're going to do machine learning on NFTs, and this can give you an example of like what you see with their live streams when they do these global hack weeks. And before I switch over, I also want to add that if you are on Twitch, we're going to attempt to raid the MLH live stream, so that will give them a nice boost. If you are on YouTube, you will be forwarded to a relevant video. I will say, unfortunately, it's not Major League Hacking, because YouTube has this, I know it's supposed to probably be an anti-spam thing, but they have this dumb system where a lot of the YouTube referral stuff, like Major League Hacking would have to know we're doing the stream and then add us back in order to go to one of their videos. So unfortunately, they lose out on like the cross-marketing potential here on YouTube, but we're going to do that on Twitch. And if you are on our new kick.com, first of all, hi. Pretty sure your eyes are sore from going googly-eyed over all the 18 million awesome ladies in hot tubs. And hopefully your eyes aren't spinning from watching endless goddamn virtual slot machines that I fucking hate with a passion. But not only when you follow us, we get notifications, but on Kick, we're going to host one of the, because there are hackers besides us who are just emerging on Kick, trying to do some diversity here for the platform. And we're going to be hosting one of those after the stream. So when you see our profile again after our stream ends, we're going to be hosting another really cool hacker. We follow a bunch that have recently jumped on the platform, so stay tuned. So let's hear what he has to say about, we're going to jump in medias res of machine learning and NFTs. So here we go.
Nanotubular voted for green. Okay, so nanotubular, I believe on this side of my face, there are a few flecks of green glitter. And if they are there, I put some on. They may have all fallen off by this point. But if they are, I hope you appreciate that we did a little bit of green. Yeah, there we go. You are, I didn't want to, I don't really.
I love how we hop into this with the code window open and he's talking about not tech. Totally us. But let's continue watching.
Models, has this been shared? Yes, this should be public. If we go over to our code tab, part 6. Yes, part 6. Okay. So here is part 6, which I will click edit on, and we can sort of dig into. So our basic linear regression model just had a notion of speed. And we made a much more powerful version of that model by looking at the image of the NFT, all of the pixels, right? Also, actually, before we get into this, a side note, somebody, I do look at the feedback forum, and someone specifically asked me to, I suppose it was Helen something, I forget the username, but if Helen someone is on stream, if you drop in chat and say, yes, I'm still here and would like to have this problem solved, I did pull up a fix for last stream. You asked about just getting a random image off of the internet and turning it into an array. And I do have working code for that, which is, I did it in Colab, so it'll be a whole separate deal. But if you are around and say hello, I can jump into that maybe at the end. Okay, so we had our two models. One was just based on our image. One was just based on our speed, so our just a number. And interestingly, a cat doesn't look any different when it has a different speed. It's not like the cat slowly gets more I don't know, tired looking. The cat looks exactly the same regardless of how speedy it is, which means there's information that was in our speed model that our image model is never actually going to have access to.
I forgot to mention that he's trying to teach machine learning by using cats. So so you're gonna hear a lot of cat stuff and cat references because that's the medium they're using to teach this. So just letting you know.
Patterns with your Legos and having different layers feed into other layers, and so that's what we're going to look at in this notebook. And we'll play around a little bit. So this is just reading in our data like normal. It's loading. We're going to turn our training and our test images into arrays. Here we are doing that same thing by we're going to do the same thing where we clean up our price and remove the commas. The Product Talks asks, can you explain more about Legos? Yeah, so this is just sort of my analogy for...
By the way, the chat, just like our chat here at DCG 201, you guys love to derail the subject matter. Sometimes you guys I derail it and you guys put me back on. They love derailing the subject matter at all the MLH live streams, so just warning.
Stack it onto your model, and we can stack these things together to build a model. And that's all I mean when I say Legos. I don't know if folks are not familiar with Legos. I should have some Legos around. I think I actually do. But they're like a toy building block. And they were a big part of my childhood. And then I'm like, oh yeah, probably they're not a universal. But so toy building blocks that we can, without having to build them ourselves, we can sort of play with them. Cool. So then we do the same thing because we're going to use both our speed and our image. We have to import and process our speed data as well. King C says, want to see the flower crown come out for the last day? Yes, absolutely. I will go grab that flower crown. Oh,
told you they love derailing the live streams.
There we go. Hua. The flower crown has been reasserted. Adam asks, where are the cats? The cats are everywhere, Adam. The cats are in our hearts. The cats are on the blockchain. The cat is in my house. I'm very scared. But no, anytime you want to see the cats, just come over to the data set. Go and click on images. Boom. There you go. There's the cat right there. He's very mad. He's a very upset kitty. Cool. Wait, is this how people on the Isle of Man say meow? Is that what that is? Because definitely anyone who I have seen say meow has typed it MEOW. But if there are multiple ways of spelling, I mean, I know there's multiple ways of spelling lots of animal noises or lots of different animal noises. But let me know if that's how you say or how that's how you spell meow.
Meow zedong.
Okay, so we pre-processed our labels and our image data, and then we have a map or a dictionary of all of our time units, so minutes, hours, days, and weeks, that will all get turned into numbers. And so this will clean up our speed. So now we really have 6 different vectors here. We have our training input data, which is really our training image data. I might actually update that. Train image data, test image data. Then we have train labels, and we don't have test labels. And then we have, finally down here, train speed and test speed. So now, just like yesterday, we're going to generate a random split for validation. But here, because we have 2 different kinds of input, we have both our train image data and our train speed data. We have to put all 3 of these things in. And so we're going to get out for our validation. We're going to create training and validation for image, speed, and our labels. Maybe I'll call them labels instead of Y. And also, this has gotten long enough that I think we're going to break it up. Let's see. Here we go. Now we can see it all in one line. So we're passing in our training image data and our training speed data, and then we're passing in our train labels as well. And we're asking for 20% of each of those to turn into our validation data. Oh, this should say val, huh? Now, what did I do? Label val should be image val.
I'm going to comment all this at the end. I'm doing some social media updates right now. But again, if anyone has any questions in chat, let me know.
Oh, no. Label
Otherwise,
label
keep
train,
looking and keep learning.
And then label val. That was weird. Oh, meow is more Latino. Interesting. Huh. I have very, very bad Spanish, and I've never gotten to animal noises, so I totally believe that. Mew from India. Interesting. Mew. Okay, I've heard Mew. Although that might be for me, I might be thinking of like Pokemon and Mewtwo. But no, I think saying a cat says Mew. I think I've heard that. And then Tubular just has cat emoji, which I respect. Okay, I am clearly very tired as well because the generating our training data has been a time. Okay, so we have 6 different lists here, or 6 different arrays. We have image train, and we'll just grab the shape of that. So we have 1,600 rows, and each one of them are a 200 by 200 image with 3 channels of color. Then we have, let's see, we can print all these out. Then we have image val, which is the same, it's just fewer rows. So that looks good. We have speed train, and the shape of that is just 1,600, because remember, speed is just one number, so there's no additional dimension there. Then we have speed val, and that should be the same thing, but with fewer rows. And then finally, label train, and that is the same shape as speed, because it's just one column of numbers. And then label val, which should be the same thing, just a little bit smaller. Yaung. Yaung? Yeah, Yaung. I think that's how I pronounce it. That's so interesting. Okay, if anybody knows any other ways to say meow, or like anybody knows any other noises that cats make in other languages, please drop them in the chat, because this is really enriching.
I love how he's dropping all of these machine learning models. He's dropping all these machine learning models, and all people are asking about is how to say cat in meow in multiple languages. Well, welcome to Global Hack Week.
Dry erase board somewhere. Our model is going to have 2 branches. One that just deals with the image data, and the image data is going to look about the same, or sorry, the image model is going to look about the same as what we've done. We're going to have a convolutional layer. We might do some pooling, and then we'll have a dense layer on top. And then there will be another model branch that just deals with the how do you say, speed. And then we're going to plug those 2 things together and feed them through one more dense layer, and that will give us our ultimate prediction. So an important distinction here is that previously we were able to declare a sequential model and then just pass a list of all of our layers. But here, we don't actually have one sequential list. There are going to be lots of different parts. And so we're going to use a different way of doing this. So technically, each of these things right here, what we just created right here is actually a function. So really, this is a list of functions. But we can take this function itself and give it a previous layer and build our own chain of layers calling one another. And I will show you what I mean. Yeah. When she's angry, that's pretty good. I believe it. I don't know what linguistic tradition that's from, but I believe it. Cool. So we can walk through it. So our first input shape is going to be just the shape of an image, and we're going to call this our image input. I guess we can talk through what we're importing here. So this is our whole model, but I want to take it sort of step by step. So input just defines the shape of something coming into our model. And when we do this in a sort of functional way, we have to define that. Dense is sort of our old friend, the dense neural network layer. Concatenate, this is going to be the key to plugging different branches of our model together. So concatenate says, just take these 2 layers of a neural network and stick them back to back and pass that to the next layer. So this is going to be how we're going to merge 2 different branches. Then we have flatten, and flatten, of course, we've used before. It just says if you have a 2 or a 3-dimensional thing, just flatten it to 1 dimension. Convolutional 2D, that is our convolutional layer.
That works.
You need to scroll over. Max pooling 2D, that is how we sort of combine multiple convolutions into one and sort of squish them down. And then it came back. And then our last layer we're importing is batch normalization, which we might not use. And we can talk about batch normalization if it comes up. I don't think I'm currently using it. So we're defining our 2 inputs, and really we don't need the speed input until later. So our image input here is a 200 by 200 image with 3 channels of color. And then we start by, so remember this convolutional layer that we're calling turns into a function. And this is a little bit, there's a thing called higher order functions that operate on functions. And so this is technically a higher order function because we call this function, it's really kind of a constructor, but bear with me. And it returns to us a function. So we could call that, like if we wanted to, we could say my convolutional function, and then we could call my convolutional function just like this. In practice, we usually don't do that. We just take this thing right here and just treat that as our function. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense because that convolutional layer does take some input and produces some output, right? It takes in, as you're doing a forward pass, it takes in whatever image you have from the previous layer, does the convolution, and then returns it out. And so we can use this whole expression as a function that takes our image input and then returns an image model. Now, really, this is sort of our intermediate layer in our image model. And we will continue passing this image model as an input and then reassigning the output back to this variable image model. So our second layer, convolutional network, a little bit fewer layers here. And we again take our image model and pass it back to image model. Then flatten doesn't take any parameters. I think this is actually a good sort of line to look at because flatten doesn't do anything. Oh, our dense, we should really give it a ReLU activation. At least I think that would be good. So flatten does not really take any parameters. And so this is just the flatten function. And we pass it our image model. Same thing happens with our dense layer. And then we wrap this in a model. So we wrap all of from the moment we get our image data in out to the point where we've passed it through a dense neural network. And that dense neural network only has 32 outputs here. And we can say, okay, that whole thing, think about that like one model. And that model's inputs are going to be the image input from the very beginning, and that model's outputs are going to be whatever we actually output from image model. Or really it's whatever we output from this past image model here. And we can plug that back into image model. Now, this way of using Keras is I think it's a little bit less intuitive, but it has a little bit more flexibility. Because instead of saying you just have one stack of layers, it's saying every layer is a function, and you can pass into that function kind of whatever you want, and whatever goes out of that function, you can use anywhere. Something that I am realizing is that this method, just like as I'm explaining it, this method of using the same name here, I think is a little bit unintuitive. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and actually replace these with what I think might be more easier to explain variable names. So we could call this also, I don't know why I'm using Camelcase. I use the image input. Image input. And let's call this output of layer 1. And so we feed the output of layer 1 into layer 2. And we can call this output of layer 2, and we can feed that into our flatten layer. We can call this output of layer 3 and feed that into our dense layer. We can call this output of layer 4. And you can see how this gets a little bit laborious, and so we will often use the same variable just because it is a little bit faster. It's a little bit easier to do. And you can move things around without changing your variable names. But for the sake of explanation here, also that's a little bit small. Let's crank that up a little bit. And then we can put output of layer 4 is the output of our model. So then the input we can still call image input. And then all of this together we'll call our image model. So if any of these lines of code don't make sense to you right now, like at least drop a, hey, Will, that's confusing in the chat, and we can talk about it more. Otherwise, we will move on to branch number 2. Now, the thing I want to call it is what we did just here. This is basically equivalent to what we did yesterday in this model. Obviously, it's a little bit different. We have dropout. A few things have changed. But for the most part, this is just a different way of phrasing that exact same model. So now, when things get different, is we can create a speed model. So this is our image model. And then here's our speed model. And so the input for our speed model is just going to be of size 1. It's just a single number coming in. And we'll pass it through. There's a question of really if this is actually necessary, and you would say maybe it's not, but the idea of having a dense layer here is that maybe our network can learn something like a better representation of speed rather than just this number, right? Because our number increases really fast. It goes from, from like 2 to 12 or 2 to 60 to like 1,000, and there are no numbers in between. And so it's possible that our model might actually be able to reshape that number in a way that's sort of more useful. Maybe the curve of like how bad speed is not linear, perhaps. And so we can call this speed input. We'll pass that into our dense layer, and we'll call this output of, this gets a little bit tricky. We'll call this output of speed layer 1. You can pass that as the output of our total model, and then speed input is our input. And we'll call this our speed model. This is just a much simpler version of what we're doing above. So now we're going to combine those two branches by using this concatenate function. And we'll get the output of our image model and the output of our speed model. Oh, I can type, I promise. So then this is our combined layer, and we can now feed this through one last dense neural network. It's really often it's often a good idea to throw one dense layer at the end of your network, just because it is that sort of utility knife of machine learning, where really any kind of relationship that you need to learn, it can get pretty good at. And so we'll call this output of combined layer 1. And we'll feed this into our final layer that has a dense activation, and we'll call this our final output. And so the output of this model is going to be our image model's input. Sorry, the input is going to be the image model's input and the speed model's input. And the output is going to be our final output there. And we can finally call this just model. So this is, I know, a lot of code, but the thing it's doing is it has one branch that's just handling the image, another branch that's handling the speed, and then it is joining those two things together into one final dense layer to give us that prediction. And now, without further ado, let's try it out. Oh, this is maybe we can experiment with this. So I was playing around with the learning rate, and we didn't talk a lot about optimizers. It didn't come up a ton. I think I mentioned the atom optimizer as the thing that sort of, as your algorithm is trying new parameter values, your optimizer is kind of telling it what direction to go in. And so it's sort of telling it how to turn the knobs in order to make sort of an educated guess of what it should be doing differently. And there's this parameter that a lot of neural networks take, or a lot of optimizing algorithms take, called a learning rate. And your learning rate is basically how aggressive you should be in changing your guess. So like, I don't know if you've ever played a game where you have tried to like guess it's like a game of hot or cold with numbers, where like I'm thinking of a number, and I'm thinking of a number between 100 and, or between 0 and 100, and you guess 2. And I say, oh, you're really cold. And so you might say, oh, I'm really cold. Okay. If you have like a big learning rate, and I said you're really cold, you might jump up to 95. That would be like a big learning rate. Whereas if you have a smaller learning rate, you might say, oh, I'll jump up to 50 if you said I was really cold. And then if you have a really low learning rate, you might say, okay, I will jump from guessing 2 to guessing 4. And so it's sort of like, how much do you change your guess based on the information that what you said was hot or cold? Sort of the way to think about learning rate. Oh, I'm so glad that you think this is cool. I think, to me, this is sort of a neat way of breaking out of there's sort of Keras on Rails where you can just do one sequential model, and there's Keras sort of Unchained where you can really, you can hook up anything to anything else that I think is neat. So learning rate. By default, for the Atom Optimizer, learning rate is set to 0.001. Now, there's not really a great intuitive understanding of that, other than it's not going to change things too much on any individual run. You can run it once over all your data, and it'll change a little bit. And then on the next run, it'll change a little bit more. And one thing that you can do is if your model is taking a really, really long time to converge, to sort of like reach its leveling off point, if it's taking a really long time, then you can try increasing your learning rate. And so that's something that I played with, but we can sort of try it out and play with it ourselves. Okay, cool. So here is, now this summary, I think, gets a lot less useful when you have multiple branches. We could look at other ways of visualizing if we have time. But so it sort of has the first branch up here. And then it has the second branch down here. And the second branch is really small. And then it concatenates them. And then it has our final two dense layers. And you see our biggest layer by far is this dense layer. Let's see, I think this is the first dense layer on our convolutional neural network, which kind of makes sense. This where, we have almost all the fidelity of our original, actually we have more than the fidelity of our original images. And it might be worth putting a max pooling layer there, but for the time being, we can take it out. We'll maybe think about adding that depending on what we see. So we have 39 million parameters. So that's quite a lot of parameters. So now when we actually go to train, it's a little bit different because we have sort of a more interesting input. So our X is now a tuple of both our image train and our speed train. And did I change those? Did we change the name of those? We have image train and speed train, and then label train. That's what I changed. So label train. And then we also have, in our validation data, instead of just saying a tuple of X and Y, we have an inside tuple of this is our input data, because we have two separate input data sources. And then our output is label val. And here we can just run it for 20 epochs to sort of see, get a sense of what kind of performance we're going to get out of this.
So to reiterate, I'm going to let him finish his topic here, and I'm going to stop at the right moment, and then we're going to cover everything else about this week that's going to drive me crazy because it's going to be a lot of like coding and math. So fun.
Honestly, the training loss is remaining very high. Okay, so I'll confess, looking at the performance here, this is my immediate thought is something feels a little fishy. I was playing with this earlier, and we were observing better performance than this. This is, usually is kind of stochastic, which makes me feel like something is not hooked up quite right. So let's go back through and look at all of our individual steps here. So image input goes into a convolutional layer. A convolutional layer goes into another convolutional layer. Layer 2 goes into flatten. Layer 3 goes into here. Oh, I did make that activation ReLU. I would be surprised if it being non-ReLU was like the thing that helped it. But the model has image input, and that turns into image model, and that all seems reasonable. Speed input looks correct. We have one dense neural network layer, output of speed layer, and we get our speed model. Cool. We take our combined layer, and we say output of combined layer, and we have our final output. And then in our final model here, We say model equals image model, speed model, and our outputs is final output. Okay, so all of that looks correct to me. The question is, as I renamed all the variables, did I actually create a did I introduce a bug when I replaced all the variable names? Which seems possible.
No, you made a feature.
The other thing is maybe just to double check our data here, which I think we did, but we split up our data here, and then all of our shapes looked correct.
I think this is where we're going to end watching MLH's live stream here. Not this live stream. We're going to be continuing on for at least another half an hour to my dismay, but you kind of get the gist of it here. And so that is the live stream stuff that you often see at these Global Hack Weeks. They have a bunch of different subjects they're going to be covering. Let me see if I can bring up the schedule here. By the way, if you were seeing me yawn as he was talking, I was really interested, especially because I'm still like super new to machine learning, and my experience with AI is like the Terminator and Matrix movies and Tron, if you really want to age me. But it's more of, again, just the heat exhaustion from earlier today killed me. So there's a bunch of different stuff. And what I also love is that while for a limited time, just like with our videos, their Twitch videos are up, they log everything with YouTube. I wish they would make a PeerTube variant as well, like a self-hosted PeerTube variant, so that way they can have a more pure raw file version of their streams. But everything that they stream for Global Hack Week since like years ago, they have as their own playlist and their own videos right after they go offline. So even if you missed most of Global Hack Week, you can still check out all the very interesting talks. Again, we just happen to go into a time where it was machine learning. I'm more interested, and this is probably what we're going to raid, with the creating a data visualization app with Python Part 1. That's the one that I wish that was streaming at 8 instead of 10. That's going to be streaming at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our time zone here at DCT 201. So definitely check that out. If we're around that time when the raid happens, then you're going to go immediately to this on Twitch. I wish we could do that on YouTube, but unfortunately YouTube sucks ass, so we can't do that. What I am going to look at instead is the challenges. So they divide these into two types of challenges. You have feature challenges, which happen for that day, and then you have the challenges that are going on today, but they really kind of last the entire conference. Let's look at the feature challenges here. So this one's registration. Let me make sure if I did this right. Forward to this web page here. I should also remind that, again, if you like the content that you're going to see and what you're also about to see, okay, I'm already checked in. You can follow us and subscribe to us completely for free on all of these live streaming video platforms we're on, which are currently Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, Kick, PeerTube, and you can also view our YouTube through NVIDIA's via Tor instance, which we have on our Linktree page, which I'm actually going to post right now. And that if you do so live, particularly, let's see, I think we have them set up for 4 of them. So if you're watching us live on Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, or Kick, and you like send us some of the Odyssey crypto, or you follow us or whatever, we will get a notification for that, and we love cheering people on for that. But you know, even if we're not streaming, funny enough, I feel like most of the time our accounts are followed by new amazing hackers when we're not streaming than we're streaming, because they'll literally like this entire month, I think we had like 30 or 40 people like subscribe to Twitch alone, and we took a break. We weren't even streaming, and that's how many, like, we get like a couple of new people per week. It's pretty nuts. But if you want to check out those live stream links as well as socials, I'll put them in the chat right now. And let's check out Now that we know we checked in properly, I just am curious and it was. Okay, that will force the dev post. So let's see. The two feature challenges is voting system. Develop a secure voting system on the blockchain that allows users to cast votes. And Web3 gaming, which is another snake oil topic that we covered in a previous episode. Develop a blockchain-based game that incorporates NFTs, decentralized ownership, or in-game economies using smart contracts. I have an idea about, because the problem is, and I'm going to be very frank with most crypto, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, crypto, it's all a scam. A lot of them are scams, more than ever now, because of the way fucking investors and the hyperchamber element of this technology unfortunately works. However, what I will say is that a lot of these, I feel like the best blockchain tech is where people have a cool or interesting idea and they open up a GitHub or GitLab, or if they're really nuts and they love Gentoo and they hate themselves, they run their own Gitpia, and they just start tinkering with their idea, which is kind of like what we're going to do at the end, provided that I don't fall asleep to the heat exhaustion. And the worst stuff out there is similar to like Google, where they're trying to shoehorn the Web3 tech, where there are solutions looking for problems instead of actually solving problems that people have. And that's a lot of this. And a lot of Web3 gaming is especially like that and super snake oily. I do have an idea, which I'm not going to share on air, probably maybe a future episode or something, or a post, maybe even a blog post, about an idea where, believe it or not, cryptocurrency and having an in-game market for it would actually be beneficial and would make a ton of sense for a video game. And the interesting part is that it's already done in a game by a very famous developer that has nothing to do with crypto, but his idea would work really well for a cryptocurrency economy in a video game. So, I have that, but that's not what we're going to focus on today. We're going to be focused on the other garbage snake oil salesman, which is NFTs, here at the end of the episode. But yeah, when you clicked on that, let's forward over to dev post. And again, let's actually go to the proper dev post page. This is it right here. I can edit or create a project. We're going to be creating a project at the end of the stream. Let's see here. You can see all the participants right now. There are 273 hackers at this hackathon, this global hackathon by major league hackers, tinkering and working on stuff. I already gotten, what's crazy? All I've mentioned is that it's about NFTs. I haven't even mentioned the idea, and I already have people who are like front end developers and stuff that want to work on the idea. So I can't wait to see their faces when that happens. So yeah, a lot of people are participating in this, because again, it's not just the live stream. Live streams is just to like educate yourself on the subjects, particularly like something we a lot of times do on the show is like when we did the crypto zombie episode. So it's like, oh, you showed up because you heard of smart contracts and crypto, and now you left learning Python or Solidity or C# or Rust or something like that. That is one of the things I try to do in these episodes, is kind of, sucker people in with the whole Web3, DeFi bullshit angle, and you actually learning what real computer skills, even if it's just watching me fuck up and knowing how not to do it. So, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen in this episode in a moment. I need to rehydrate, especially because it's like, by the way, side tangent who's related to Dark Tangent. The weird thing about this summer is that on paper, like the actual numbers, it is cooler than it was last year. But because of a bunch of circumstances involving a topic no one wants to talk about, climate change, nobody, sorry for that cough, by the way, nobody kind of realized that it feels worse. Like it feels hotter and more muggy and stuff than it did last year, even though last year the numbers were higher. That's what's kind of fucking crazy and weird about all of this. So yeah, so like the meat and potatoes of like the actual development stuff is on DevPost, and you can see how they devise it. There's people who are working solo on projects. which is a lot of them. I'm going to try not to be one of those. They have different specialities that you can put into your profile. So full stack developer, front end, back end, data scientist, designer, mobile developer, business, cloud engineer, and for some reason medicine. I don't know why. Maybe it's all the weed these people smoke. As well as listing like the most common language and programming frameworks. So they have here, let's see, Python, which I already knew was going to be number one because it's goddamn Python. Python, JavaScript, Java, React, HTML5, C++, Node.js, CSS3 of all things, C, and vanilla CSS. I find it really amusing that Rust and Go aren't on there because I feel like every other project we open up on the Crypto Bands live stream is always something about Rust or Go. It's just, actually, I just realized if you say Rust and Go really fast, it sounds like a really terrible like board game or school ground programming thing. Anyhow, so that's like where like, you know, you're looking for like people with different skills and stuff. Let's see if there's project gallery. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so the update beeps thing are on my side. Let me just quickly see what those are about. Oh, it's conversational bullshit. Fuck that. So they haven't published. So people are still submitting stuff. They do have a bunch of sponsored prize stuff, which is part of the challenges. And so speaking of that, let's look at some. Let's go back and look at some of these daily challenges. So some of them I already have opened as tabs. So we have a bunch here. A lot of them again are you see there's beginner and no codes, and a lot of that social media stuff. So follow Major League Hacking on LinkedIn if you're a psychopath. Share your experience on social media. Follow ACM on Instagram. Um, register for Open Source Week, which is the global hack week that's going to happen next month. I'm even more excited for. Uh, you know, all sorts of little things like that. And then they have like way more specific stuff that we're going to open up here. And let's see, all right, the first one here that we're going to try because I hate myself is called Write Your First Web3 Program in Minutes Using Hedra. Now, I've had Hedra open up here. Hedra is basically, from what I understand my limited stuff, one of its unique things, which is probably why Major League Hacking is using it, and they've done like 1 or 2 live streams about it, is has a really robust test net system. So it's like a really good sandbox for like fully featured blockchain stuff. And of course, I've already registered on here. And for security's sake, we're going to go to face mode. And once again, I also remind, because I see a lot of you lurking and learning, and that makes me happy. But if you have any questions, don't be shy. And I also just realized something here. Say the magic word. No, I'll mention why. Let me just do this real quick, and I'll tell you why I did what I'm doing now. Here we go. Security in 3, 2, 1. Okay, because we're properly logged in. The reason why I cut the mic off when I began typing is because I forgot that there's been a new breakthrough when it comes to computer hackers being dicks, and they can now, if I remember correctly, use like ChatGPT type AI to hear the sound that you make on your keyboard and to figure out based on the sound what make and model, and thus they know the sounds for each of the keys and are be able to figure out like your login credentials and passwords that you type in based on your keystrokes, based on the sound of them. So that's another security measure that you have to look out for now. Join. So yeah, I just logged in to the testnet system because there was another one where you could like sync the wallet, but we're not going to do any of this stuff on the mainnet because, you know, they would strangle me if I did. So I'm going to read this article and let's follow their instructions. All right. So, and actually for this, let me just put one ear out. So what the? Oh, that's a 3D printer. I thought it was one of my devices that was buzzing because I've literally a device in my bag that makes the exact same sound. Not what you're thinking. I just saw that face. Not that. Actually, I can show it here. It's It's just a face trimmer. So yeah, it's louder, but it makes the same sound. So I thought it went off in my carry bag, because that's happened. So nothing's worse than like I put it in my bag. We've all done this. This is like an old man thing, and it goes off, and you don't even realize it. And now you go to use it, and it's dead, Jim, because it used up all the battery while you were in commute because you're a freaking idiot. So welcome to my world. All right, so let's see the instructions here. They want you to do once you've verified your account, dashboard. So we're going to be creating a new ED key here. So go ahead, create it. Okay, so we're going to go to the back to testnet. So first we have to, actually I have to do one more step here. So first we're going to finish creating the account. Okay, here we go. So this is all testnet stuff, so I really don't give a crap that this stuff is listed here. Because again, it's testnet stuff. I can keep just spinning up new stuff, and it's not like worth anything. So here we go. So we're going to create the new account. So that's been created. So now we have 2 of them. So you can see how we spin these up. Let's go back to the instructions. Let's see. So we have here. Yeah, so it's broken down. So we have we have multiple keys working here. You have the account ID, and we have the hex encoded private key, the DER encoded private key, and the DER encoded public key. Now, because we've done so many Alice and Bob examples, we kind of know about the public and private keys for these made-up users. The hex encoded private key, I wonder if they're going to explain what the hell that is. So for this, apparently, we're just going to focus on the DER and the account number. Ah, yay, we get to go right into frickin' Linux. Here we go. All right, so let's turn on the terminal. Ta-da! I recently updated it and everything. By the way, one of the things that made it take so long to live stream was because the thing I was going to do later is technically by default in Kali, and it took forever to update once again. Then it turns out that right now, for whatever glitchy reason, OBS only can see our Ubuntu terminal and not the Kali terminal. So we're sticking to Ubuntu. So let's get back here what they said. So we're going to start up the project here. Oh, wrong thing. Hang on. Where are you? Where did you go? Here it is. Too many orange icons on my desktop. All right, so we're going to do. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. Let's see what happens, because nothing or loud screeching noises might happen. So we're going to CD into this. Okay. Let's see. Let's create a project file. Is there a step I'm missing? I just want to double check here. Alright. Well, we're just going to keep going and hope for the best here. So now we're going to make a new directory. Again, I'm typing even more slow because I'll tell you this, standing 4 hours out in 95-degree weather directly at the sun makes you really tired. And that was just yesterday. Today was less so, but I have a feeling. So I have a relative that lives in Texas, and I told them that I felt like yesterday we got a unnecessary preview of what Texas, Arizona summer weather is like, and today we got a preview of what Florida summer weather was like, in which yesterday it was really hot but really dry, and today it was less hot but it was muggy because it was really humid because it rained now. And this relative asked me which one did I hate more and or preferred better, and I had to let them know that like each equally sucked and was horrible in their own unique way that makes them equal to the amount of suffering and disdain I had. Or as the way I described to them, asking me if Texas summer weather or Florida summer weather is better is like asking me, do I prefer to get punched in the face or kicked in the face? I just, no, just the answer is just All right, so let's make these directories, and hopefully, guys, I just want to double check, make sure I type everything out fine, because otherwise everything will be just okay. Hello. Oh, duh, I made a typo here. I'm still sticking with Hedra. Hello, Hedra, JSSDK. Hold on to your butts. Okay, so both of those are made, and now we're going to initiate the node. Now this is we're using my favorite program freaking versioning manager, so let's hope this actually works. Initiate a new, if this works, it's going to initiate a new Node.js project. Okay, hopefully something I can think. There we go. All right, so we got all of that put out. So we have our name, version number, description, all of that. So next we're going to want to actually install the necessary SDKs. So now that I know NPM actually freaking works for this live stream, because half the time it doesn't, or I have to update, or my favorite is where it won't load the program because it needs to be upgraded in NPM. So you do the command to upgrade to NPM, and then it tells you, oh, the function you're trying to use doesn't work. You need to depreciate it back to this previous model. So you use that NPM command, but then you try running the older version, and it's like, oh, the program is not compatible now. You have to update to a new one, and then it's basically a cat with a piece of buttered toast duct taped on it, because you're in a forever, endless upgrading loop that is the key to renewable energy. Infinite amount of free renewable energy because of NPM's incredible fuck ups. So yeah, so I'm just happy it works on the stream. So here we go. So we're going to install. So we're going to set up double dash, because we want this to be an actual function that works. So we're going to set up the hash graph here. Sorry, the SDK of it. Just double checking because my eyes are blurry. Okay, that should work. All right, so now we're loading this. And as I say in every stream, because we've done crazy stuff. We've dissected malware, we've reverse engineered programs, we've cracked passwords on other shows and stuff. And my favorite thing when people watch this stuff is me being like, yeah, so this is what hacking actually mostly looks like. For like the majority of hacking, including stuff like this, is like, obviously in movies they show like the 8 million green different terminals and the person's wearing a hoodie and sunglasses and they're just doing all the things. In reality, it's like you type in one command and you're just waiting for it to load or upgrade or for the payload to come in, as we've done in the past when we've reverse engineered, and also in the past when we've done just blanked out, we've done Metasploit. All right, so let me read the update here. So there's no description, no field, which I expected. Oh, Lord. Okay, I get to do this now and knock this out of the way. Hold on to your butts. We're going to actually update NPM. So this will either make it stable or horribly break the entire system. There's no middle ground. That's all it will do. It will either NPM will not work at all anymore, or it will work like it did before you upgraded, to the point you're wondering, why'd you even bother to upgrade? Oh, there we go. Yep. Okay, hopefully NPM will work after this, because you just saw it just freaked out. There's just blur, just the like endless angry matrix code. So we're going to now install the other dependencies here and hope that NPM's not broken now. Even though I already did a update and upgrade for all the programs, apparently that was its own thing, because NPM likes to be special. Okay, so now we're going to do it. NPM install. So we're going to install the dot environment here. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Did I type in something? I should just be able to type that and it runs. Yeah, I should be able to type that. Okay, so worst comes to worst. Might have to add sudo in front of this, which, fun. Where did it? Here we go. Okay. Oh, I think maybe I just did a typo. Go npm can't I see what I'm doing? Oh God, so the error function distorted the entire thing, so this is fun. So I actually might, okay, so once this loads, all right, hang on. Let me close and reopen the window again. Because basically when it panicked back there, it just screwed up the entire screen sizes here. Oh, so that's a preview of what we're going to be doing later today. Let me go back. Wait, why is it not? I just opened a new one here. Hold on. I'm just trying to unfuck this. Hold on. Huh. Weird. Let's try this again. Open. Terminal. Properties. There we go. Now found it. All right. So because basically when it like kernel panicked there, did like a mini kernel panic, it screwed up all the window sizing, and that's why you weren't able to see anything. So we're gonna kind of repeat some steps before. So we're going to where are you? CD in the directories. CD. Hold on. Hedera, not Hedra. Okay, now we're in the directory. So we're gonna pick up where we left started. So let's do the dot environment again. And hopefully won't kernel panic again. So it's loading the dot environment. Okay, so there's 2 warnings. Huh, I'm curious now. Let's see what it funded. Huh, cool. Okay, so now let's do the actual indexing of the environment. So hope this command works. .env. All right, good. So let's do a list. See if that's in there. Okay. So the structure. Because if we have to go in and edit stuff, I'm going to have to use the default nano on here. That's why I'm double checking. All right, so now we're going to set the NVM files. So let's see. Okay, speaking of nano. Hold on. Try this again, but with the mic off. Gone. There we go. All right, I hope I did this right. So we're going to add this following code. We're going to add my underscore count. So this is the enter testnet account ID. Go. And our second line should be about the private key. geez. Hold on. Try this again. So we're gonna exit. Let's stick on. Let's see what I'm missing. Index.js, node modules. Huh. That's fascinating. Let's try this. Weird. Alright, let's try this again. Actually, let me copy pasta this just from my notes just to make sure I'm doing this exactly correct. Huh. Alright. Let me try the hash graph again just to make sure I did this right. Because again, I hope updating it didn't break it. Per usual. Alright, so we're doing the hash graph again, then we're going to do the .env environment, which I feel like is probably where I did the stupid, but we're going to find out. And again, I know this is not the most riveting things, although chat's really enjoying it right now. But if you are interested in like this type of show, and when we return back to Master of Unlocking, and when we hybrid these streams starting in October, because I'll tell you right now, September, unless certain factors happen, we're not going to be live streaming it. If we live stream it, it's going to be a super casual, like chat talking to you guys instead of like actual panels and stuff. We're not going to get to like actual panels and workshops until October, which is going to be fun because we have a very specific thing we want to do in October and beyond. So that's that whole thing. But if you want to support us, again, you can follow, like, share completely for free on our video streaming platforms, Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, Kick, and even though we don't get notifications for them, PeerTube, and we do have a NVIDIA's instance through Tor where you can watch this completely anonymously on. If you follow on our Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, or Kick, we do get notifications for them, although Kick's been very iffy because it's fucking Kick. But we do notice that even when you're offline, we notice these things and we're very appreciative. Also, a note for YouTube, because I keep forgetting, make sure when you do subscribe to us, and I hate saying this because every YouTuber says this, but there's a reason why, click that notification bell and then turn it on to all, because YouTube is such a poorly, shittily coded platform that it doesn't default when you want to follow someone to get all their updates. It'll instead give you AI algorithm fed curated updates like every 3 months about the thing, and you're going to miss a ton of content from your favorite content creators, including us. So just hit that bell and put it on all. I know it sounds like you're trying to join a cult, but every YouTuber says that because if YouTube was smart, they would have the whole follow thing on default, and they don't. Probably why Stadia didn't work out for them. So let's do the dot environment again and see if we can properly do it this time. Okay, so that didn't load last time. So let's see. So let's go to the touch thing again, and hopefully we'll be able to get a file. If not, it might be something because of the way these system files work that's preventing that, but we'll see. So list again. I don't see it here. Shit. Let me do a quick skim to see what the rest of the tutorial is like. All right, so from what I can see, we're going to stop here with the Web3 program. I'm gonna do this during the rest of the weekend, and maybe I'll record it and put it on our YouTube and Mastodon and stuff like that. But I'm gonna tell you why we're stopping here. We're gonna go to the other more annoying things, is because unfortunately I can't see the EV file in terminal no matter what I do, and that's probably because we're only purely in terminal, and this is our Ubuntu terminal is purely by design just a terminal window. So you need to actually be in a like proper text editor to see the .e and v file, and we're not because we're just in terminal. So because we can't enter about the keys, that means none of the other JavaScript that we're going to enter into the index.js is not going to work. Same thing with the package JSONs. So that's where we're going to end it here, but I am going to finish this thing. I'm going to unfuck it during the rest of Global Hack Week, so that should be a lot of fun. That just gives you an example of like one of the type of challenges that they do. Another one they have is a Circle wallet, which we maybe are going to do this at the end, because I think we have like 20 more minutes of life left here, or more like I have 20 more minutes of life in my body in order to live stream. But I have no real priority for doing this, so I figure we might just skip it. And I just realized, you know what would actually really help? I turn the terminal off for now. Where are you? And now you can see the browser properly. There we go. And actually, let me restart the terminal here. Ta-da! Okay, now it's ready for when we bring it back up in a moment. So we're not going to do the circle wallet. It is really interesting what they kind of design. We might do a dedicated episode just on this us.cd because basically they're trying to be, which I think is a hilarious oxymoron, privacy security focused stablecoin. So you have the stable part of it, which means that it's heavily regulated and monitored, but it's also supposed to be like super secure, which would kind of, it's just weird. It's just weird. So our plan is not to do that now. And then for the stream that we missed here is Kaggle, which I think is hilarious because one, it sounds like Kegel, and two is that every time I hear this platform's name, Kaggle, I think of the whole subplot in the Lego movie where the MacGuffin is the Kraggle. So good job with naming there, guys. But no, this is basically a community website. So it's similar to DevPost, but it only focuses on AI and machine learning. And this was created by Google. I mean, it has the two-letter naming scheme. You know, Google, Kaggle, sounds like it's kind of named from the same cloth. And so this is where you go on there and you post data projects, and you can upload data sets, and people can use the data sets you upload into their machine learning stuff. That's what it is. That was the stream that we missed. And of course, we had a whole sign-in thing, which now I'm going to go like this, boop, boop. And now it's just my face. Just in case, just my face. All right, so now I can flip back over to the dashboard. So you can see here, you can update data sets, you can have entire notebooks filled about data sets and machine learning. There's competitions discussing, and of course, also courses, just kind of like the way Global Hack Week is. So I'll probably shove this into like a future live stream somewhere, whether it's Crypto Barons or not. A lot of duck icons for users. That's kind of weird. Another thing that was brought up, so all of the learning how to Python courses that I saw introduced me to a very interesting platform that I didn't, when I just realized that cool thing going on right now that I'm going to talk about after the stream. But a very interesting framework that I didn't know existed that's called SmartPy, which sounds like a coding language for shitty IT devices, but I promise you it's not. It's basically a way to write smart contracts on Tezos. We covered Tezos a couple episodes ago, talking and reviewing and doing an unofficial audit of its proposed security features, in which it actually did decent, I will say. And I like this idea because my problem with Solidity is that even though it reads like a lot of other programming languages, that's still like another programming language you have to learn on top of all the other languages that you're using in order to get stuff done. It's like you already know how to do web design with HTML and maybe even XTML, which is something I'd like to look into. JavaScript, CSS, and then your Python programs and your Rails or Apache background, and just it's a mess. And learning like 12 different languages in order to post "Hello World." So adding like a unique language for smart contracting, while I can see the Gen 2 like leveraging of that, it's still another programming language you have to learn. Again, we played the games. They had literally had to gamify it into crypto zombies in order to explain how it goddamn worked. So I like the idea that Tezos is like, instead of like making yet another smart contract language, let's just take a programming language. In fact, let's take the one that everyone in their mom and their mom's chest hugger knows, Python, and modify it, make a framework for it so you can put in Python in this framework and it builds the smart contracts on the chain. So props to you guys at Tezos for like using something that hackers and programmers are more familiar with. So unfortunately, I'm not going to go like too deep into this because I do feel like it could be its own Crypto Barons episode in the future, like later this year or early next year. So that's all I'm going to talk about now. But when you do look up the learning how to Python videos, live streamed and pre-recorded during this Global Hack Week for Web3, the person who's doing the amazing instructor, because he's really cool, who's doing it, is using Smart Pi. And so that introduced me to a whole new way of doing Python. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of a jump into like what we're trying to do in the future. But let's go back to the challenges real quick. Let's see if that was everything. Probably not. Let's see here. See, most of this is social stuff. Trying to find the cool one here. Blockchain. Swag fill out, which I'm not going to do for OSINT reasons. That's that programmable. Oh, that's what I forgot. So in addition to the type of stable token, privacy token that they have, I forgot that a leverage of apparently the Circle platform, which again, I want to dedicate its own episode to, is the fact that it's a programmable wallet. So you can use it as an actual like normal wallet on its mainnet, but its testnet area, you can completely customize the wallet any way you want. And so if you want to like eventually make your own wallet for whatever project that you're using on a chain, you can either set up Circle in order to be compatible with it or use it in order to prototype what you want, which, again, maybe we'll do at the end with the idea that I'm trying to do. I doubt it, but let's continue on with the episode. So let's see and I know one of them's the setup. I'm going to take the picture of the setup at the end to forward it to the challenge. That's pretty much all the challenges. So what we're going to do now, we have a little bit of time left. I would say I don't think my pitch idea is going to take longer than 10 minutes because I'm going to rage quit any errors that pop up. So just for my sake, since I'm like becoming an old man now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to take like a 2 to 3 minute break max. And then I'm going to talk about my pitch idea that I'm going to submit to the Global Hack Week by Major League Hacking for Web3. And we'll see if the audience here likes the concept. And then when we post it on DevPost, we're going to find out this weekend if, because I'm just going to do the most rudimentary, like I'm going to be like, here's my idea, and then this is the program I'm going to use to illustrate the idea, and then maybe we'll attempt to do some early on, like dedicated coding for it. I doubt it, because otherwise I just throw the laptop at the wall and it'll bounce off, hits me in the face. But we're gonna see about that. So just give me a short break. I'm gonna rehydrate and dunk my eyeballs in formaldehyde to like re-energize them and like chug an entire coffee pot full of not coffee, and we'll be back, and I'll do my pitch. We'll try to make it a reality, and then we're going to end the episode and go raid people. So stay tuned. Also note, The reason why the music seems like it is everywhere, I'm actually gonna load this. So for a while we were using Pretzel, and Pretzel's been normally really good for us. And I noticed that recently streamers have been using other types of um, anti cease and desist order, uh, non upsetting the copyright gods music, like other platforms. And again, it's been a month, so we haven't logged into the Pretzel, and we can see why. There's only like two, yeah, there's like barely 4 categories open. None of them are dedicated categories, and we tried playing music earlier with them, and we just didn't like any of the stuff it brought up. And like all the good genres, like the EDM and the punk rock and the drum and bass and things like that, are now locked when they used to not be locked. So I get it now. So at worst, you're going to be hearing a lot of repeated music because I haven't been able to rip new music yet. That's totally kosher for the web. I will be doing that even if we switch to a different music platform in the future, which I believe we definitely are going to. But just bear with us with the music. I'll be back in about 3 minutes, and we'll see how this cool pitch goes for the hackathon. So give me a break, and I will be right back. Okay, starting now.
En êtes-vous sûr? En êtes-vous sûr? En êtes-vous sûr? En êtes-vous sûr? En êtes-vous sûr?
Let's get to work.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. The computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top.
Drop.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I.
All right, finally, after a good banger of a song, we are back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Barons on the DCG Tool and live stream. We are literally almost done. We'll probably have, depending on how I feel, roughly 10 minutes left of covering Major League Hacking's Global Hack Week that's themed to Web3 for this month. So we'll be looking at Web3 technologies, mainly blockchain technologies. I want to point out, not to confuse with actual Web 3.0. A lot of people don't know about this, and I've actually thought of doing a talk or a blog post in our group about this, that there is a huge ass difference between Web 3.0 as defined by the Web3 Consortium and the buzzword snake oil word that's Web3. So there's a bit of crowbar separation there. But welcome back to the stream. So we've been covering Global Hack Week for Web3 by Major League Hackers during this. And again, if you like the stuff that you see in the final stretch of the episode, you can follow us on Twitch. Let's see where our main ones: Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, and our newly released Kick. You can also follow us on PeerTube for you also awesome open source decentralized warriors out there. And you can watch our YouTube via NVIDIA's an NVIDIA instance that's using Tor, which we have listed in our link tree that I will post again right now. Posting. So we've covered a lot of things with this Web Hack Week. We looked at briefly at one of the live streams currently on. At the end, if you're on Twitch, stay tuned because we're going to attempt to raid this upcoming talk, which is, let me look at the schedule, and actually let's go back to desktop mode while we're at it. Which is going to be, this is the one that I wanted to watch live with you guys, but it's too late at night for me with my old man Betty time, which is creating a data visualization app with Python. So you're creating a Python reapplication that will visualize data on the blockchain. So that's going to be really cool. It's super late at night for us on the East Coast, but it's really cool. And we looked at the challenges. We looked at sort of how the whole hackathon is set up virtually. And because it's a hackathon, now we're going to do the thing where I hope everyone gets the concept better than how I'm going to shittily implement this. But let's go to the DevPost portal here because I'm going to update this. I don't know if I'm going to update this live on air, but I'm going to update this at the end of the stream of my hackathon project that I'm going to submit for Global Hack Week. So there are many reasons, a lot of reasons, varied reasons, to hate NFTs. I don't blame anyone for hating them. I own a couple of them, and they annoy the shit out of me. Particularly, there was an era on the internet where it was like for 3 solid years, they were the biggest thing. And because all the scams and copyright infringements got truly out of control in that sector, it made Web3 games look like legit businesses by comparison. It all tanked, and like even like people who are into like Bitcoin and Polkadot and Polygon and everything, they even don't like NFTs. So like it's really fallen out of favor, not only just on the internet in general, but in the community. But one of the super core reasons to hate NFTs and why they like don't make any sense whatsoever. And actually, let me go to face mode for this, make it all dramatic. Is that, as mentioned in a CoffeeZilla video, most NFTs, and so essentially what NFTs are, is when you purchase an NFT, you're not actually purchasing the object it represents, despite the marketing saying you are. It's kind of like that saying of like, we don't see things, we see light bouncing off of things. Well, similarly, what's on the blockchain that the NFT quote is stored on is not the actual, like, let's say it's an image. Let's say it's one of those dumbass bored elitist apes. You don't actually own the ape image directly. That ape image is not on the blockchain for many reasons. Laziness, a big ass reason is because, you know, I'll put it this way: there are successful NFT projects. I think one of them is Cypherpunks, where the reason why they're low-grade pixel art is not just because they're hipsters, but they're freaking hipsters on not Steam. What's the other? Each.io. They do that because just having 48 to 82 pixels is way more manageable data-wise on a blockchain than having like an actual high-quality art image that's like 5,000 by 8,000 pixels. So again, when you buy that Bored Ape portrait, you don't actually directly own that Bored Ape because that Bored Ape is not the data that's in the blockchain. What you have in the blockchain is usually a URL that points to the image on a web server to download the thing that you bought the NFT. So you don't actually have the thing on the blockchain, and thus when you purchase, you don't own it. You're not purchasing the object, you're purchasing access to an object. And if you're a video gamer who's used to horse armor and EA and a ton of fucked up video games with microtransactions, this is going to ring a bell. This is pretty much why gamers instantly vehemently hate crypto and particularly NFTs, because they don't believe in the whole horseshit, rightfully so, of like, oh, you like real ownership, because you're not actually owning the image. That's not what you get with the transaction when you pay for it or exchange it. You're getting the right to access that image or that digital art access or that piece of audio, because if they actually stored that data on the chain, it would get absolutely out of control. Now, like I said, there are certain low-res images and certain chain functions where they actually do store that object on there. And there's been a lot of things to also just mitigate the whole linkage system with NFTs. The earliest one that got the most popular, funny enough, popularized. The platform was popularized by a Native American, Indigenous American person who's in crypto that never gets any like rightfully due for all the insane hacks he does. Look, 3 years ago, when we first did Crypto Barons, that November episode where we talked about indigenous people and crypto, that's who I'm talking about. He popularized the IPFS system, the interplanetary file system. Now, again, we did a whole episode about IPFS, and IPFS has been brought multiple times in Crypto Barons, so unless chat really wants to, I'm not going to go into detail of what the IPFS is. Just note that it started off as one thing, and then because of the amount of crypto bros and crypto scams, that's what it's kind of gotten known for now. So it's been evolved. It's become not popular, even though honestly the IPFS system itself is really unique, especially for the original problem it was trying to solve, which is low latency between like planets, where you're talking about like hundreds, thousands of kilometers, where it's just like one little light beam turning on and off, and that's the only data that you're reading. It's not even comprehensive code. It's literally the binary set through hundreds of thousands of kilometers. So that's one thing that they use, is the interplay file system, because since it's decentralized and has a false sense of security, people like that. We've also covered in the past things like enveloped, which are wrapped NFTs, where you need like certain passcodes and stuff in order to access them, and you can put multiple NFTs in the same package. And because of that system, there's also a very interestingly named NFT system that I saw recently called Schrodinger's NFT, which is basically that secure function where if you you lock the NFT down in cryptography, and basically you can't decode it and thus access the NFT itself unless you have the correct password for it. So as I said, it's locked even when it's not locked. That's its mantra. And the reason I'm telling you guys all this is because I still feel like it doesn't solve the main problem of NFTs, which is that you don't own the thing that you think you're purchasing, you're owning the access to it. Hence why the joke of the easiest way you can ruin someone's data, the NFT, if it's posted on the internet, is just to right-click the image and save it. As much as crypto bros want to disagree, very valid method in order to get NFTs. So here's what I'm proposing, and I've looked everywhere. I have not seen anyone remotely do this or combine these two things together, and it shocks me because I'm a very basic bitch when it comes to programming design and programming and terminal usage, as you saw earlier, were, even if I wasn't sun blasted from the past 2 days, I still would have typed really slow on that. So it just boggles my mind that I would come up with this. And I'm sorry I've been dragging this out, but let me tell you what this is. Now, I'm not saying to encrypt the file that you're purchasing with the NFT directly, although that could be an extra security layer. My idea from my background in like actual crypto, actual cryptography, and the hacker community in general is to avoid the right-clicking save problem, to avoid the who really owns it, to avoid that even providing a link to this will still solve this problem where you actually own the thing. So the idea is you have a chain, and let's say this for the sake of argument that the image, and we're going to use images just because it's simpler to say images, but it could be really any piece of data that you're purchasing access for as an NFT. So what happens here in my system is, it sounds really basic in the beginning. You have a whole chain, maybe there's parachains also working together, maybe it's decentralized like Holochain is, and you're going to purchase an NFT. You're going to, let's make up something. You're going to be purchasing, come up with a thing. So unless chat comes up with something, I'm probably going to be faster because I'm trying to put this into words. I already got, because we're coming with like a Bored Ape-like thing, which is basically you have an artist and they make individual pieces of an art, and then there's AI and base randomizations that combine them together randomly, and that's how Bored Apes generates all their dumbass apes. So let's say we're doing an NFT series called Damaged Earth, where it's the same concept, where it's different areas of our planet, but we're seeing them at their worst climate changey fuck-ups, just to kind of spread our whole ecological thing that we do at DCG 201, because we're in New Jersey, our state smells like an armpit, but we try to keep it clean. We try to keep the environment going. So let's say, again, just for the sake of argument, NFT image series about different views on the planet Earth completely corrupted by black tar capitalism, like the villain in Ferngully. So what would happen is you'd have the chain, and when you minted the NFT, when the user purchases it, so that means they have a user account, whether it's on MetaMask, like decentralized or centralized, doesn't matter, they have an account. So they mint it, and so that block tells the AI to generate the image, gets the credentials, but instead of just storing the user's profile and the link on there, what it does is it takes the image and it uses the data from the person's profile to then create a stenographic cryptological element in the image. So when that person buys the NFT, basically the blockchain, using digital stenography, signs the image. So it creates like an actual encrypted message that is then embedded into the actual code of these Damaged Earth NFTs. And what this solves is that even if you right-click the image, because that's the problem right now, all these images, they have no XF data, they have nothing that marks them to their owner. It's just in their head that they think they own this. But with this system, what you would have is that even if that person posts the image publicly after they purchased it, and people right-click and save it, that user can prove that they own that image. Because even if someone saves it, they're still bringing the cryptographic stenography data over, and then by that's the term I wrote in my notes, by extracting that stenography element that's embedded into the code of the image, they can then compare that key that's generated to their public profile key, and that shows that they own the image. Basically, it's an advanced version of watermarking NFTs generated on the fly that will actively and effectively prove that those people, for the most part, own the NFT, because you obviously do like stenography spoofing, as we saw with the LastPass leak. They're already reverse engineering the keys. But this is, I feel, a really good threat model and a really good start that would solve a lot of security problems, a lot of business problems, potential copyright issues, things like that. So as much as I don't want to reinvent the entire world of the NFT because I think they're all snake oil garbage, especially the Bored Apes bullshit and how much they've infected the fucking cultural zeitgeist of the internet. It almost makes me miss Pepe almost. Although, again, a lot of crypto people also use a lot of bullshit with Pepe, even though Pepe is supposed to be dead right now by his creator. But I digress. The idea here is that this would actually solve the ownership problem and the right-clicking ownership thing, because by using a person's profile or maybe an inbuilt key when they make their profile in MetaMask, it will then, when you mint the NFT, it will sign the NFT with the person's key as a stenography element. So the image will be there. There'll be no visible watermarks from the naked eye unless you zoom in really close to the pixels and notice things are off, because those off pixels is that the stenography element is in the actual data. You would have to extract the data in order for that to work. And as much as I'm dead tired, let's cap the episode by I'm going to show in the crudest way what I'm talking about. So let's switch back to desktop mode. So this is the project page. So what I'm going to use to show how this works is a program called StegHide. It is a stenography program. It's entirely done through terminal that hides data in most images and audio files. And what's really interesting about it is because the type of stenography it's using, which I think is called FM stenography, the color sample frequencies are not changed, which makes it fascinating. So to kind of quickly break down about how they're able to do this, how are you able to embed like code within code? Here's what they do. This is usually most data that we have, but particularly with images, if you were able to break down the displaying of the image into binary, there is a lot of redundant data in the image. And usually what it is that the last 2 to 6 1 and zeros in the last positions of every line on that image is literally just extra data for padding and has no actual use. It's the appendix of the image and it's line by line. So what stenography does, which is why the file sizes increase when you use a stereographic method, is that it's taking usually a text file, which can be clever stuff. It could be a secret message. It could be an identifying key, which is cryptographic key, which is what we're going to hopefully be doing in a moment. There's also been cases of stenography with malware where you can literally like, oh, wow, this is a beautiful woman, download it. And by downloading the image, you have executed the malware that's stenographically engraved into the image. How wild is that? So what StegHide does is that it determines, okay, here are all the bits in the image where it's redundant. There's no use. Like if you take those bits out, it won't affect the rest of the image. And it's going to use that median space to put whatever texting into that section. And it's going to spread it out line by line with the image until the entire code is there. So that's what we're going to be attempting to do, even though I'm like passing out right now. So normally we would have it in Kali, but Kali's being a dick on here, so we're going to be using Ubuntu. Actually, sorry, we're going to be using Ubuntu as backup because in order to show this, because I need an existing image, and because our Linux terminals do not cross over with the main terminal, we're actually going to use, here's the dirty secret live stream, the native Windows that we're using to live stream on this, because unfortunately for live streaming, Windows just works and is stable most of the time. And let's bring up the terminal again, because we're going to be using a different terminal here to install, just to make it a bit more obnoxiously hackery. Because we could just like load the exe, but what we're going to be doing instead is we're going to be looking at, because we had it up before. Hold on. Where the hell did it go? Okay, let me close the Ubuntu first. Closing it. I think now it'll appear. Hold on. The heck, where did it go? Huh, weird. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to close this other thing because it's going to be a surprise. And then I'm going to open it again. You're going to hear a ding when I open it. Okay, so I'm going to run this as administrator. Yes. All right. Yeah, there we go. I have to resize the window here, but we have it up. All right. So now that I have the ghastly abomination up, that's PowerShell, we're going to be installing StegHide using Chocolatey, which is a Windows sort of program manager in the same way how the ATP series works on Ubuntu or Pacman works for Arch Linux. Windows actually has its own, although it's a third party, called Chocolatey. So we're going to install that here. So we're going to do the command choco install. Let me just double check on the spelling. Not wrong. Steg hide. Keep wanting to call it Stego hide for some reason, like it's Stego cat or something, but no, it's Steg hide. Let's install that here. We're going to do yes to all, so we're going to do A. Let that go for a bit. Yay. So it's installed, and now that that's installed, let's kill this abomination, and let's bring up another abomination, which should work. If not, I'll switch back to PowerShell. There we go, which is the Microsoft command prompt. I know we're bringing out all of the air quote favorites out tonight, right? And if you appreciate that, please sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe to us on Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, Kick, which is our newest one, and PeerTube. If you follow us on the first floor for Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, or Kick, we'll get notifications for that and cheer you on. So far, a bunch of people in chat, but no follows. So, you know, streams are like that. And now we should be able to run this through the terminal. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need an image. And actually, we're going to have to CD into something. So let's see what we can do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy. This is the part you're not going to see. I'm not going to do this in terminal. So I'm going to copy the Major League Hacking Global Hack Week Web 3 banner. And I'm going to put it in, where's a good place to put it? I mean, pictures is kind of oversaturated. Actually, let's do pictures and let's make a new folder for it. Let's call it FT Steg Test. That's the name of the folder. We're going to copy this into the folder. Alright, so now we should be able to CD into all of this. So let's see, CD. Okay, and now we're going to CD into. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm on Linux. I'm in the command line thing. But actually, so it should be in there. Let me just double check something. Because remember, it's been a month since we streamed, so a lot of my command usage, even on Linux, has like gone to the wayside a bit. Although I've been getting back into it because I've been tinkering with the whole Veiled project that was announced with that announced at DEF CON, trying to get it to work. I think I'm gonna actually have to use like OG hardware running Linux in order for it to work. Here we go. I'm dumb. Let's see. Yep, you can see the image in there. Okay, so that's in there. So that was the easy part. Now it's time for the hard part. So the hard part is, again, so one element of my concept is we have the image. That's going to be our theoretical NFT. The other thing that we have is we have the actual encrypted text. Let's go back to browser for this, and in about 5 minutes we're going to be wrapping this up. So we're going to go to back to here, and what I've decided to do is just so you can base follow along. As much as people are not a fan of this anymore, we're going to be using PGP, particularly GPG. Now, this is not obviously the only cryptographic method you can use in an Alice and Bob type key system. There are many way better, way more secure, many hackers fuck ways. But just for simplicity, because what I have is, this is what we're going to use it for. So as you see, I have a ton of keys here, including my own. And we are going to encrypt something. So let's see. Let's do encrypted text. Let's say, let's do hack the planet. Oh, we need to enter a recipient, so let's just do ourselves, or myself, I should say. Data is not signed, change, select signature. Yep. Okay, now it's signed, and let's encrypt. Okay, so even though you can't see it on here, I have another window where I enter the key password to sign this, which should be this. Nope. Alright, let's try the other key. And for this one, turn the mic off for this one. There we go. Okay, so it's signed. And I don't know why it's just resized itself here. Let's zoom in. So what we have is this entire message here. So begin PGP, the envelope, the whole encryption thing. I'm just doing this again just so it's easy. So we could copy it, we could download it. We're going to download it, the TXT. I'm going to open the TXT. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to open it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename it to NFT steg crypt.txt. Actually, I don't need the .txt, so it's just going to be called NFT steg crypt ASC because that's the file. Okay, and then we're going to cut that. Go to pictures. Go to our steg test and paste it in there. So what you don't see, although I might be able to, I think I might have a folder display, so let me look. Do I have a folder display? Chat. Here we go. So as you can see here, I have the two files that we'll need to prove the example. I have the Major League Hacking Global Hack Week PNG image, and I have the NFT steg crypt, the ASIC file. So now we're going to go back to terminal. Let me actually change the scene here. Before we change back to terminal. And we're going to hope everything works. Probably not going to, because of the nature of the show. We love tempting the demo gods on the show and have it blow up in our face, but we've had crazier things happen. Usually the crazy thing is when it does work. Alright, so now that we're in the correct thing, and if I type in the directory tag in, so we can see both the MLH underscore GHW underscore web3.png, so that's the NFT image, and then we have our NFT steg crypt ASIC file, which will be the encrypted key message. And what I can do is we're going to go to the terminal and we're going to type the magic commands. So if everything worked out correct with that magic commands, we're going to be using our steg hide. We're going to embed. Embed. So we're going to use our CF is going to be the image. Oh, fell. Welcome to Hackerspace Shenanigans. So that's the PNG. And then our files, our EF, is going to be the text. So it's going to be the NFT. If this doesn't work, I'll change the ASIC into a text file. We'll see what happens. So we're going to do a unique passphrase. For this passphrase, just because it's a test example, I'm going to bring up KeyPass here, and I'm just going to generate a short-ass thing to use. It's a little ditty. We don't need that many characters. Let's do 28. Randomize it a bit more. Let's see, which one look? That one looks nice. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put that in my notes so I remember. So we're going to use that as the passphrase. We're going to re-enter the passphrase. Oh, sorry. Let's do that again. So we're going to passphrase. Enter the passphrase. Oh! Huh. Okay. So we get to do a quick side change here. We can fix this. Basically, the PNG is not compatible. I do know that JPEGs are. So let's quickly go in. I'm going to open up Glimpse. You're not going to be able to see this part. And I'm going to go in there. I'm going to reformat it into a JPEG. And we're going to try this again. Glimpse is loading. All right, so we're going to open. Since you guys can't see this part, I'm going to be like semi-narrating. So we are in, where are we? Pictures, stick test, here's the image. Open that. Now we're going to go to export as. I'm going to change it over to a JPEG. My mouth was a broken JPEG. I had no choice. If you get that reference, one, props to you, and two, like me, you are fucking old. JPG. And just because of force of habit, I'm going to not save any EXIF data. I'm going to max out the quality in it. And we're going to export. Alright, so there should be two of them in there. Okay, so there's two of them now. So if I bring it up on here, they're folders. So, oh, they're all two of them. So you see there's a JPEG along with a PNG. And we're going to go back to the terminal and we're going to try this again. So there's the erective. We see both are in there. And now we're going to re-enter those magic words. And hopefully the demo gods will like us this time. So again, we're going to invoke the steg hide. We're going to embed. It's just like a fortune cookie. You have to end it with embed. Great, now I want Chinese food. I haven't had Chinese food in like 3 weeks. So we're going to do the JPEG version of this. So MLH GHW Web 3 JPG. And our text, the EF, is going to be the ASIC key again. NFT, steg, crypt, ASC. Alright, cross your fingers. And do the passwords again. Yes. Okay, so this part's going to be crazy. I'm actually going to open up a new element in order for this. So, actually, let's just call that just to future-proof it. So this is going to be crazy. So let's go to folder. So by comparison, we're going to bring up the PNG first. That is the original, non-altered, pure image PNG image, right? Move this down a bit. Doing some housekeeping here, no BS. Because literally in 1 minute, we're basically done. I'm actually very happy that this seems to work, although, you know, count your chickens before they hatch. We'll find out. So that's the original, just pure image file. Now let's load the JPEG that we managed to stenograph. changing it now. See any difference? If you were able to super zoom in on the pixels, you might notice that instead of just pure reds on the reds, that it's doing like red, pinkish red, red, pinkish red. But just by looking at the image itself, especially at this size, you would not notice any difference. And even if you did know an altercation, you might just chalk it up to like the way the image editor like exported or whatever. You would not come to the conclusion, or most people weren't, that, oh, there's code embedded in this image. So right now, the cryptographic key that we used in GPG is inside the Global Hack Week banner image. And we can prove that because if we go back to terminal, let's, oh, sorry, turn off the terminal. We can extract it. And then that basically concludes this episode, because there was a bunch of other stuff we could do. I was going to try to see if I could take the same image and do the minting process. I am way too tired today to do it. I also have literal shit to do. I'm actually going to go to a really cool party that a friend of mine is going to be working at afterwards in the city. No, I'm not telling you where it is, because you guys are pretty cool, but you're not that cool. No offense. I love you guys. Please like and subscribe to our channel. If, again, you're on YouTube, turn on that bell, because YouTube is such a piece of shit. But, so I was going to go through all of that, but I'm just going to be happy with the stenography process, because I think the proof of concept of this shows itself. So again, even if you right-click someone else on the internet, let's say I post this banner on Twitter, you can right-click and save it, but I can be like, no, I can prove it to you, because here is my GPG key. This is my Alice and Bob thing. So this is my key. This recognizes me. When I generate it, there's me, to quote Full Metal Jacket. There are many others that look like it, but this one is mine. And inside that image has the encrypted message of the public key that I use. So we can compare that with my private key and show that it's me. So here we go. So let's extract this. So we're going to just direct list again. So that's all that there. And you can actually see, so if you look up here, see if I can highlight this. So you can see there, the original banner was like 491,000 bytes. And then when we combined the ASIC key, which is 1,715 bytes, you'll notice that now it jumped to 547,000-ish bytes. So it got bigger. But you'll notice that, because in the past with stenography, it used to be that like you would stenograph an image that was like 5 megs, and all of a sudden it became 1.2 gig. It like Activisioned itself. Call of Duty Activisioned itself, where it just bloated out of nowhere. It Ubuntu'd itself, let's say. Canonical. And but with this, they do a sort of like compression, and then the way they do also the bits with the stenography, that while it jumps, it basically jumped up by like 50 bytes or so, like about, give or take. So it's not a lot. So that's really neat. So like it's also done so like you wouldn't like notice it immediately unless you knew what you were looking for. But let's extract this. So we're gonna do steg hide extract sf, and now let's type in the encrypted file, the stenography file that has a encrypted stenographic file. There we go. Use your word, Sidepocket. Web3.jpg. So we're going to enter that passphrase again. Crazy random bit of numbers, which again also adds another bit of security. So it already exists overwrite. We're going to just say yes just for that. So wrote the extracted data, and so it rewrote that. So that's the thing we extracted. Actually, if we hold on, dir again, yeah, it's the same thing there. So if this didn't already have the existing file, you would see it pop up again. That is the encrypted PGP key. And then if we go back to Mailvelope, just because it's easier to use and so visually oriented, and go to decrypt, I'm going to attach that encrypted file that we just used, which is pictures And it's a steg test. Here it is. Open it. And we're going to decrypt it. It's been decrypted. Okay. And there it is. Hack the planet. So normally in here, I would put like a copy of like my public PGP key, and then we could use that and then do that comparison with my private PGP key. And you could do this with any cryptographic thing. I'm just using PGP just because it's really common and easy to understand, even though it's not the most secure cryptography. And that could prove that this NFT image, and it only went up a couple of bytes, so it'd be only an extra couple of bytes on the blockchain. I know that could technically, if it got really popular, override over time, but if you designed it well, particularly with parachains, this could work out. And you can show that it's me. So again, with this stenographic method, I can get my minted NFTs. I can put them all over the internet. I can print them out, put them on the wall. People can right-click, save them all they want. But in the image itself, because I'm not getting, it's not just, oh, you have a link. We're not encrypting the link, although you could add that as another layer of protection. The image itself has a watermark that's stenographically, digitally encoded as code in the actual image when it's minted. And that code is a public key that you can compare to the private key as me as an owner. And that proves that that image, because it's embedded in the image, is mine. And so right here, we have solved most of, if not all of, the ownership problems that we have with NFT. I am shocked that no one, as far as I can tell, and I've been looking for like 2 years now, has come up with this sort of system. And again, I think it's because the only reason why I know that such a thing exists is because I've played CTFs, and there's entire sections where either categories digital stenography, or there might be a stenographic flag in like the website hacking section of the CTF. There's YouTube and Hack the Box tutorials about this, both in the cryptographic world and in the computer hacking world. So I think my background allowed me to come up with a solution, which again, if you're working on a Web3 or a blockchain project, hiring hackers would probably be a good idea, because in addition to like the actual like security, so you don't end up as another blog post on Web3 is great, you might end up getting cool ideas like this. Now again, normally I would also mint this. I have a profile on Pinata. I could do a whole Java JS coding thing that interfaces with Pinata so that it mints this, and then put in the Java code that when it mints, it does this whole stenographic process. But I think everyone gets my point. I'm also just dead tired. And that's going to be my pitch. Let's go back to the dev post. So this Untitled, starting tomorrow morning, because I also just might go do the other thing and then pass out, you will see this in there. I will have clipped this section of the live stream, so you have a video example. I'm going to have a write-up of all the stuff there. I might also have the Pinata thing implemented already, and I invite people who are currently doing the Global Hack Week by Major League Hacking for Web3 to come on and make like a really professional version of this. Like, let's choose a chain that we can mint from. Let's come up with a bunch of images. Let's use what you've been learning with machine learning and AI to generate those images. We could use the same AI we'll pick a cryptographic system, a key system, make that part of it, combine it together, and we have like a nice decentralized app Web3 interface for NFTs, where you can mint this type of NFT, and it has that the key stenographically etched in the images, and thus we can use a whole cryptographic process intrinsically in the image itself to prove that we own that. So you can't just right-click and save it and argue that, haha, I win because of my big smooth brain. So that's my thing I'm going to be submitting in until 9/11 RIP, when this whole hackathon ends. And that is the Global Hack Week. Yeah. Awesome that these people put this on. It's also really brave in this environment to to feature Web3, if I may be honest. That's basically the end of our stream. I'm trying to end it on, this is what I'm waiting to load, is that if, let's see if I can get this right. Here we go. If you want to engage, because there's still time, you have, like, what, 3 days? 1, 2, yeah, you have 3 days, 2.5 days, I'd say, to engage with it. Watch these live streams. We're going to raid the live stream for Global Hack Week in a moment. And we're going to be, if we do raid them successfully, it's going to be about creating visualization with Python. So that's going to be neat. Super if you want that nerdy coding experience. But if you want to engage in the hackathon, there's still time left. Here's the link of it in the chat. And I'm going to go into face mode before face mode, I'm going to wrap this up. And as a reminder, because we're ending this, I want to thank the awesome people at Hack Manhattan for being able to host me here on the stream. Despite that, transit screws things up for me, and also that these episodes tend to go on forever. I've been very patient about all of this. So, yay, I'm finally back to streaming because of them. So, go check them out. They have a bunch of different classes, some paid, some aren't. And if you're lost at, hey, I'm in the New York area or I'm from New Jersey, take the PATH train up to 33rd PATH train station and walk up. What day should I go? As you can see on the bouncing thing, they have the open houses Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this upcoming Tuesday on the 12th, and then again on the 26th, you will see me there with the lockpicking. So if you want your own in-person Master of Unlocking before I go back to streaming it again, I just mentioned it, this month for the 12th and the 26th, aka the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays for the open houses, I will be there to teach lockpicking. So that is it for the show. Thank you, everyone. There's been some people chatting in there. No questions, but the fact that you guys keep coming back, even during a month hiatus. I had a lot of people asking, when is Crypto Barons coming back? When is Master of Unlocking going to come back? And it will be coming back. Just give me a bit of time. And, when our meetings are coming back. And the good thing in September is all of that's coming back. So thank you all for your patience. Thank you for your patience today, because we had a bunch of kerfuffles with both transit and updating stuff beforehand in Heatwave. Again, that's it for our show. Quick socials, if you want to follow us in our shenanigans, because we're still rebuilding the website. Our blog is defcon21 at medium.com. Just posted that link in the chat. We are on way too many socials. We are still on the Deadbird X Smelly Musk site. We are also on the way superior, God, I can't really use those analogies because they sound terrible. We're on the way better coded platform of Whostucks.social. It's a Mastodon interest. We're still on Instagram. We have a Threads because of Instagram. We're on GitHub, where you're going to be looking. If we do any code for the the Global Hack Week, I will repost that on our GitHub. And we're also working on a GitLab that will kind of, mirror what you see on the GitHub. So look for that in about the next 2 months. But if you want to know all those socials, just posted our link tree right in there. It also shows our streams, which again, you can follow us for free on Twitch, YouTube, Odyssey, Kick, and PeerTube. And finally, while we get by the way, our meeting, both the September one, and we'll probably repeat it again in October, we're going to be doing a vote on what we're doing with our IRC, and also what we're going to be doing with our private message as a group thing that's not Discord and not Slack, because we fucking hate Slack. So those will be both the September meeting and October meeting votes, and then after the October meeting, there'll be a new one. But in the meantime, yes, we do have a Discord, just like everyone else. We're trying to use it more. We particularly use them when we do online CTF challenges or hackathons like the Global Hack Week. So you will see me on there. If you see me on there chatting, say hi, have any questions, make sure to do so. So again, that's the end of our episode. Stay tuned, because I'm going to put on some music. And during the next minute or two, if you're on Twitch, we're going to attempt to raid Major League Hacking. So go check out their awesome stuff. Say hi to them. If it fails, don't worry. We're going to raid some other happy hacker. If you're on YouTube, we're going to be going to an interesting video that, while not major league hacking, is a good programming tutorial for Web3 stuff. So check that out. And on Kick, we're going to host a really awesome, one of the few hackers on that platform we're going to host on our stream. So please stick around. Honestly, I don't know what to tell you. Please just donate coins to us. That's it for our show. Thank you for your time. I'm Sidepocket, one of the two co-founders at DCG 201. Check us out. Hack the planet. Dirty Jersey represent. And remember, that is probably a good idea to not, even though I had no choice because the Global Hack Week is a set date and time. If I ever have the option in the future, I am never scheduling anything when I am working outside in 90-degree weather. Because, man, if you ever wanted to time travel and not drink liquor to do it, just stand out in the heat. Go. I don't recommend this, by the way, but like, stay out in Vegas long enough during Hacker Summer Camp. You will time travel in the worst way possible, like I did this weekend. Stay safe. Make sure to hydrate. That's hydration of the stream. And say hi on your platform of choice, the people you're going to be seeing next. Peace, everyone. Hack the planet. See you next episode. And stay tuned on our social announcements of that. Peace.